Yo, what's good, Josh? Your boy J Suave. I'm the host of J Suave TV. And no, before you ask, this is not gonna be a video of me breaking down Tracy's character this season. She has none. Her character is truly one of them enigma. It's really a miracle that she's still on the show till this day. But Josh already know I got y'all with that long-awaited, highly anticipated season 7 finale predictions video. Now, I ain't gonna lie, I just finished writing down the predictions for this season 7 finale. Some of them don't sound too crazy based on how the season's been going so far, in my opinion anyway. But there are others. There's some in here that might be tinfoil level. I'm gonna give y'all an example one real quick. I predict that in this season 7 finale, we will see the reappearance of none other than shy legend Tracy Roxborough herself. I could really see that happening, no lie. Jokes aside, we about to get into these predictions. The way we'll do this is we'll go character by character and break down the storyline that I feel like they'll follow in this season 7 finale episode. Feel free to leave your own predictions in the comments. I'm gonna try to get this out to y'all as soon as possible to see which y'all might got cooked up before the episode drops at midnight tonight. But before I get into any of my real predictions, you already know what you gotta do. Like, comment, share, subscribe, do all those things. Shout out to my tribe, bro. We're already at 198 subscribers. 2 subscribers away from my goal, well ahead of the week ending. So if you watching this video right now has not subscribed to my YouTube channel yet, what are you doing? Literally cannot emphasize enough, it's free. So the first character I'm making predictions for the season finale is none other than Reginald Taylor himself. Now I foresee this man Reg going through a couple things this episode. We know we left off with him trying to rob this house. Candace dropped him off and she hit up Alicia talking about she's scared, she's worried. And Alicia asked her for that Addy. By the way, yes, I pronounced her name Alicia. Shout out to the grammar police in my YouTube comments today. I'm still go jack her as Alicia, sorry. But I believe Candace will get Alicia this address and then she'll get it to Tucson and Tucson will have the police go over to the house and try to collect Reg. But I don't predict Reg will get caught up by the cops in this instance in the episode at least. I do see Reg getting arrested by the end of the episode. I think we'll get away and we'll see Reg go on a tear for the remainder of this episode. Not only was the jewelry store here sabotage, but now this home invasion he about to pull off. First person he gonna be looking at after that is Candace. She might catch a bullet. I'm not gonna hold you. I feel like someone gotta catch a bullet from Reg just off of how he was moving in the last episode. So why not Candace? Obviously the most talked about name right now for who will catch a bullet from Reg is Hannibal. And I can see that happening, but we gotta remember Candace was the only one who knew Reg was gonna pull off this home robbery. So in this instance, he wouldn't have a reason to assume that Hannibal or Angie were the ones who got him caught up on that jewelry store robbery. I could definitely see Reg capping Candace as opposed to Hannibal, but y'all leave in the comments, do you think Reg is catching a body in this episode? And who is it if you do? But yeah, like I said, I think Reg is gonna get arrested by the end of this episode anyway. I think Tucson has to get a W by the end of this season. I don't see the storyline carrying over into season 8. And after that, her boy will be freed. So she too will probably be off the show once again. All right, now since we're on the topic of Reg, we might as well knock out all the Taylor brothers one time. We know from the end of the last episode that Trig got caught up with Tiff, whose water just broke. And so he's now taking her over to the hospital. I can see her being at the hospital with her for a little minute, making sure she's good. But then at some point, maybe after Reg catches that body, whether it's Candace or Hannibal or whoever, assumingly this would probably be going into the next day. I guess that's another prediction. I don't see this episode only taking place in this one night. Kind of like the last season finale, because one, it happened in the last season finale already. And two, I want to see Tiff deliver that baby. Not only that, but for a couple of my predictions to work out, we actually do have to go into the next day. I will hear those theories as we get to them. Just give me a second. But yeah, I think there will be a scenario in this episode where Trig and Reg have one final conversation before Reg gets locked up. I feel like there's still so much closure that's needed between those two brothers. I think it'll be more of a somber scene. Trig will probably understand that he'll never see Reg again after this conversation they had. And they'll probably talk about the good old days coming up before Reg and Trig separate for one final time. I also think Trig will be there when Tiff delivers the baby as well, which is another prediction I have. I mean, I think it's pretty obvious Tiff is going to give birth to this baby in this episode, but we'll get to Tiff when we get to Tiff. Next, we go over to Jake. I have no predictions for this man. After Jake gives Reg his crib earlier on in the season, he really doesn't get into much else for the remainder of it. We see him with Bakari. We see him give Papa that shirt in that block party episode. But aside from that, Jake is not on anything this season at all, so I really don't know what to say about bro. Definitely don't see him dying, though. I think Jake is definitely making it to season 8. So I was just about to give some slight predictions for Tiff's character in this season finale episode. But then I passed by this picture of my camera roll of this girl on Facebook, absolutely flaming Dom. Shout out to you, Chelsea. I'm gonna let the post speak for herself real quick. But yeah, I guess predictions for Dom and Jamal's character in this season finale. They might show up, they might not. Kind of leaning on might not though. It feels like their storyline was wrapped up in last week's episode. There is an event that I believe will happen to one of the characters in this episode. It will require a lot of members of the Shy to pull up, and I think Dom and Jamal could be 2 of those characters that pull up, but we gotta see. I'm gonna get to that event in a little bit. I guess let's just talk about Bakari while we're here. I think that Bakari will have a conversation with Professor Gardner in this episode at the very least. They're going to talk about his recent grades in school, the scholarship being rescinded by Alicia. I think Professor Gardner might give Bakari one last chance to really change his ways before he officially gives up on him. And this might be the wake-up call Bakari needs to finally get up out of the street. I think it'll be enforced even more so, being that Bakari's been going through all this stress these last couple episodes. And the deceased kids in those pictures in the block party episode, then dealing with Alicia's interrogation episode after that, I think he'll be good off the streets for a little bit. Hopefully. I mean, we know how much of a father figure Professor Gardner has been to Bakari, and we already know he lost a father figure last season. I don't think he's trying to lose another one. So I feel like in that ultimatum circumstance, Bakari would choose Professor Gardner, but we'll see. That's what I'm predicting for right now. Hey, yo, Chelsea is killing it with these posts. I can't even lie. But let's get into Tiff real quick. Like I said, I do think Tiff will give birth to either Rob Jr. or Tiffany II. But I also think she's going to finally learn that Nuck took out Rob in this episode. Now, I don't think she's going to be the one to put a bullet in Nuck, though. I do think Nuck will die by the end of this episode. But I think she's going to find out that Nuck did it with the baby in her arm. Now, who's going to tell Tiff that this happened? I don't know. But I feel like this is a storyline that's been built up throughout this whole season. So there's no way we can't get Tiff finding out that Nuck was actually the one that killed Rob. Right, Lena? I don't know, bro. I feel like with the shot, you really just never know. But that's my prediction for Tiff for this episode. I can't wait to see that look on her face when she find out, bro. I know I've been waiting for this. Since I just talked about believing that Nuck will get capped by the end of this season, I gotta give credit to the killer. I believe Alicia will be the one to finally get rid of Nuck in this season finale. There's no way you've been building this lady up to be a threat since the beginning of last season to have her not do the job and get Nuck up out of here this time around. She couldn't get it done with Duda, but she for damn sure should be able to get it done with her son's killer. I don't care. If she's not the one that puts a bullet in Nuck's head, that's just not good writing in my opinion. I think Toussaint will provide Alicia with an address in order to get to Nuck after Alicia provides her with this information on where to get to Red. I think that'll be part of how Alicia catches Nuck lacking in this episode. I think the other part of that involves this picture of Rosalind Perry right here. I think that Rosalind's going to pull up on Alicia in this episode thinking that she's the one that took out Duda. He's going to convince her that Nuck was actually the one to do it. So Rosalind's not going to kill anybody. That's another prediction I have. Rosalind's just up in this pole looking all cool, calm, and collected, but nobody's catching a bullet in this scene. It's here where I think Alicia and Rosalind will devise a plan and catch Nuck lacking, enabling Alicia to be the one to take the kill shot on Nuck. But wait, I'm not done because I think that Nuck will be able to take out Alicia too. I think it's going to be a 2-for-2 kill right here. My reason for thinking this, I just really don't see Alicia's character following us into season 8. I think her story's done with, and I think with her still here, it keeps Tiff from gaining her property and all her belongings that she signed off on a couple episodes back. At least that's what we think she signed off on. I don't even think Shorty read those documents, to be quite honest with you. Oh, she could have signed a 10-year deal to Bad Boy Records. But yeah, I see Alicia dying by the end of this season too. Y'all leave in the comments what y'all think about that. Two tinfoil or nah. Bro, who took this picture of the pastor? Austin didn't want to reshoot after seeing how it came out. He knows exactly what time his character was getting on this season. He trying to play it off all innocent and shit. I got 3 major predictions for the pastor in this episode. I guess 4. I don't see his family mending by the end of this episode, unfortunately. I think he's going to take the fall for his daughter, Kenya. Some way, somehow, the feds are going to find out that she had Zay's gun. And in this instance, the pastor is going to give himself up in an attempt to save his daughter. Real wholesome vibe. I just feel like that gun came up out of nowhere. There's no way it doesn't get brought up again. In some capacity, that gun got to come back up again, in my opinion. I also think Papa will find out that the pastor has been associated with Nuck this whole time. I don't think that's public information to Papa just yet. And I think that he's also going to learn that Nuck was the one that took out his pops and that the pastor knew about that the whole time. I also predict that Pastor Charles will some way, somehow overthrow Pastor Zeke by the end of this season. Now the church will be ran by Pastor Charles if that prediction comes true. That would low-key be crazy. My son came for the starting position, ended up having to become an assistant coach, and somehow ended up as the star player in the end. I think that might be the most tinfoil theory I got so far. Obviously, Papa hearing this news, he's going to feel betrayed as hell. But I think that it's necessary because I don't think that the pastor is the right guy to be leading Papa in this next phase of his life. I think he needs another big brother, father, mentor in his life, like a Trig, maybe a Darnell, who's also going to be experiencing loss after this season. Maybe he just needs to go to the men's circle. I don't know. But I don't think the pastor's been the right guy in Papa's life up until this point. And I damn sure don't think Charles will be the right guy. So yeah, new guidance for Papa in season 8. All right, now we got to get into the hard predictions. I say this with the heaviest heart imaginable, but I don't think Jada's making it to see the end of the season. I don't think she will die at the very beginning of the episode, but I don't see her going into season 8 at the same time. And I don't think that they're going to start season 8 off with her funeral. But I guess you could argue, well, they might start off this episode with her funeral. What's the difference? I just feel like this chapter with Jada in the shy will end in this season. I feel like her character deserves that. So I'm going to just say her passing will happen in this episode, and it's going to affect a lot of characters. That's the event that I said that Dom and Jamal could possibly attend in this episode. Rest in peace to Jada if it does happen. I'm still holding out hope that she could beat that cancer again until all is said and done. Obviously, we know Darnell is going to be devastated by this, but I do think he'll take his wife's advice and eventually move on to the lady he met in the grieving partner circle. I think we'll see some early signs of this moving on in this episode as well. I think that by the end of this episode, we'll learn that Zuri is the sister that Angie's been talking about this whole time. We're going to get more of an expansion on exactly why she was in that rehab center. And we're going to see why Emmett and Keisha made the biggest mistake imaginable, hiring this lady to be a babysitter after knowing her for all of 2 seconds. I think whatever it is that she's suffering from will be so bad that it's going to make Emmett and Keisha really consider leaving Chicago altogether, especially after the conversation he had with Jada. I don't think that was for nothing. Predictions for Damien, I have no. Shocked at who Zuri really is, I guess. This is all I got for y'all for my predictions for the season 7 finale that's dropping in just a few hours. I'll leave in the comments, what do y'all predict is gonna go down, and who do y'all think will live to see season 8?